But Peter got up and ran to the tomb. Stooping and looking in, he saw the linen cloths by themselves. Then he went home, amazed at what had happened. We followed Peter's journey with Jesus for the past 6 weeks or so, all through Lent. We've seen him drop everything to follow Jesus. We've seen him start to walk on water. We've seen him sink like a rock. We've heard Jesus call Peter blessed, and we've heard Jesus call Peter Satan. We've watched Peter test the limits of Jesus' teaching with pointed questions, lots of misunderstandings, and a few pretty insightful moments as well. Just over the past week, Peter has entered Jerusalem with Jesus in a triumphal parade, palms waving, full of joy and hope. And then he must have felt the air shift as he went throughout that week. As instead of taking up power and a crown, Jesus took up a basin and a washcloth. Instead of calling an army together to serve him, Jesus humbled himself and served his followers, washing their feet, hosting a meal. Peter had to find his own humility, you remember, to let himself be cared for in that way. No, Jesus, you will never wash my feet, he said. But once he does, not my feet only, but my whole body, Jesus. Calm down, Peter, right? Once he does, he pledges that he would die with Jesus before he would ever abandon him. Then, that same Peter couldn't stay awake to pray when Jesus needed him. His first response at Jesus' arrest was to pull out his sword and start swinging. Later, when asked if he was one of Jesus' disciples, he denied it, pretending not to know him. Peter was nowhere to be found at Jesus' execution. It's been a roller coaster, and we're not done yet. Peter got so much wrong. He had so many doubts. He broke his word, chose violence, denied Jesus, ran away, and Peter came back. Peter came back. Peter listened to the women, those first evangelists proclaiming the good news of resurrection. Peter ran to the tomb. When he found it empty, just as the women had said, Peter was filled with amazement. No brash answers at this point, just awe. He left marveling to himself at what happened. We've seen a lot of Peter's failures this Lent, but even after his biggest failure, the complete collapse of his expectations of Jesus, the complete collapse of his expectations of himself, today, Peter runs toward hope. Peter shows up. Peter shows us that we can always begin again. And again, and again, and again. Why is he running to the tomb now? Does he actually believe the women's story? Maybe. Does he want to prove that they're wrong? We don't know. Is it faith or is it doubt that is propelling him forward, pushing him toward the empty tomb? We don't really know, and I'm not entirely sure that it matters. We've seen throughout Peter's story that belief and doubt can both be expressions of hope, two sides of the same coin. When the women come blazing in, preaching resurrection that first Easter morning, Luke's gospel says that the other disciples thought it was nonsense, silly talk, garbage, trash. If Jesus' own friends thought it was trash, I think we can be forgiven for having our doubts as well, so breathe easy. Wherever you are on the spectrum of belief and doubt this morning, the message for you is not to believe harder or to find certainty or to expunge any skepticism. No, The message for you is to keep running to the tomb. Keep looking for the divine. Keep hoping that it might be true. Peter doesn't go home with any certainty on that blessed resurrection morning. He goes home wondering, marveling, awestruck, because the power of the resurrection is not found in an explanation. It's not found in scientific proof. It's not even found in the firmness of your faith. The power of the resurrection is the wonder that it inspires, the possibilities it dares us to imagine, the cracks of light that split into the darkness, expanding our limited vision. The power of the resurrection is found in the amazement that what we are sure has the final say in our world may not, after all. That what we think is the end of this story may not be for Jesus, for Peter, for you, for me. Whether it's an easy sell or whether it sounds like garbage, the resurrection of Jesus proclaims the mystery, the incomprehensible truth of a love that reverses death itself. In a world like ours, filled with so much death, so much hopelessness, so much anger and hate, so much isolation and illness and fear, this kind of love is worth looking into. It's worth chasing down. It's worth your hope, your faith, your doubt, your questions, your skepticism, your wonder. It's wonder that transforms us. Not knowledge or doctrine or blind confidence. It's wonder that transforms us from the inside out. It's wonder that keeps us looking for the divine where we thought that God was dead and gone. It's the glimmers of hope that our story is not over, that there is grace, forgiveness, love, life ahead, that the divine is uncontainable and on the loose, planting seeds of resurrection even when we are at our lowest points, even when we don't have any faith at all. It only takes a spark of curiosity, a mustard seed of faith, if you will, to let that truth grow and transform us, to make us agents of transformation in our communities, in our families, in our worlds, to make us into people who share resources and who lift each other up instead of tearing each other down, who lay down our weapons, who work for healing and wholeness and abundance for all, who lean into love even when it feels naive, people who do what Jesus did, who make mistakes and who begin again and again and again. Beloveds, whatever propelled you to the tomb today, you're here. And that is enough. You are enough. Thanks be to God. May you keep chasing down the divine, keep walking away awestruck, full of questions and hope and wonder. May God keep expanding our collective vision of what love can do in our world, the lengths that love will go to. Today, like Peter, may we begin again. May we join God's work of resurrection in our world even now. Thanks be to God. Amen.